Hi, this is David, Varsity Trucker. I had somebody asking about how to make or how I made my electronic telescoping boom for my wrecker. I had to take it apart for something. Thought while it was apart, I would go ahead and show how I did this. We'll start down here at the motor end. Motor will be attached to the outermost section of the boom. Just used aluminum angle for that. Here I've got a adapter, 25 tooth, goes to a bare end that you can put a piece into. I drilled through that and through the rod, put a steel pin through it to keep it locked together. Little piece of plastic slides up, plastic tubing slides up to hold that pin in place. Because this is where I have to start at if I need to take it apart to fix anything. So I've got a piece of threaded rod that will go into that. Threaded rod always turns with the motor. Middle section will slide through the outer section. I've got little pieces of plastic here to keep everything steady so it's not flopping around quite so much. Just because of the way I've made it, it still flops a lot. Down here, I have a piece that screws into the middle section of the boom. That's just to help keep everything centered as it extends out. Again, trying to help to keep the flop to a minimum. The outer section will actually come all the way off now since it is not attached to the motor. This threaded rod screws into what I am calling the threaded lamp post. This is picked up from a lamp repair store. It is a piece of hollow threaded rod, threaded tube, however you want to call it. I have affixed a nut that fits the threaded rod inside the end of the threaded tube. As the threaded tube turns from the extended position, it will pull this threaded rod into the tube. The middle portion of the boom basically free floats. Attached here, it will free float along this section of the threaded rod. At the bottom end of the small section of boom, I've got a nut fitted in that fits the lamp tube. That's put in with, or locked in with, steel pins, spring pins. Once again, little pieces of plastic to keep the end from flopping around. At the end of this, inside of here, there's a nut or a screw and a washer attached into the end, similar to this, but it's a screw instead of threaded rod. The washer is big enough to catch this nut right here. So that as it extends, this at a certain point will stop turning when it gets down to this nut. Keeps this from coming off the end of the lamp tube. So as this screws in from extended position, this end will be drawn in. As it screws out from the retracted position, this will be forced out until this hits the nut in the back end of this. I have the same on the threaded rod, a nut that will hit this end piece so that as the threaded rod turns out, the washer on the end, or the nut on the end of the threaded rod, will catch the nut on the end of the lamp tube. That's what forces the lamp tube to turn. As it's turning this way, the lamp tube will extend the small end of the rod. As it turns in, I have a stop block screwed in to the end of the small unit. When this threaded rod or lamp tube hits that stop block, this will stop. As this continues to turn, it will draw in the end section. So this draws in the end section until it's all the way in. It catches. This continues to bring it in. As it's bringing it in, the end of the lamp tube hits this stop attached in the end of the middle section of boom. When the lamp tube hits that block, it will draw the middle section and the end section into the big section. Same way in reverse. As the threaded rod is screwing out, the bolt on it hits the bolt inside the lamp tube, forcing the lamp tube to turn, pulling the end lamp tube out. The plastic here will catch plastic on the inside of the middle section. Since it is free floating, it will draw the middle section out. All controlled by the motor attached to the threaded rod, and the motor is fixed to the large tube section. Probably not the greatest explanation in the world of how it works, but hopefully, if you want to try and make one, as you put it together, play with it, you will understand the theories behind it, how it functions. My next job is to mount the boom onto my turntable on the wrecker. I have managed to design the turntable and slider for this wrecker. If you have looked at the stats on the Century 1150, the boom will actually traverse forwards and backwards on the real wrecker approximately 5 feet. On one of this scale, approximately 5 inches. I've got the slider to work. Teflon inside of U-channel. Same plastic on the bottom sticks into the U-channel. Slides back and forth. I still have to design the mechanism to operate that. Got a semi-planned idea for when that time comes. I have also made the turntable 360 degree. That operation of the controls will be run with this I forget what they call this. Has rotating connections. So this will mount. This will be able to turn with this. I used a 4-inch Lazy Susan turntable bearing picked up from Home Depot. Most all of this is from Home Depot. Piece of PVC pipe. L brackets, right angle brackets inside. One is bolted to the bottom. One is bolted to the top. They overlap and they are basically bolted together. I do think I will have to shorten this by about almost half. I will probably align the holes in these two brackets where one screw will only be there. This top will come down to about here. I have tested it. It does hold the weight and turn still. So along with the slider mechanism control, I have to figure out how to build a rotating control mechanism. Still thinking about how I'm going to do that one. So, there you go. That's about it. You can message me or email me if you have any more detailed questions. I will try to answer them. Thank you for watching.